Yas, queen.
What? What?
Yeah, baby.
Perfect
Do I
start
talk-
to this episode, but
Well, bro, if you want some excitement, get ready. We got John Whitt.
why
Business.
are you saying it like that, bro? Don't say it like
Bro,
that.
if you want to get fired up for your business, this is it. I'm coming at it with aggro.
Okay.
I don't know, man. You do the intro so many times.
I
Why
know,
not
but
switch
it
it up?
sounds kind of mean.
No. It was actually very good philosophical business talk, and
Yeah.
we tried to ask some practical
We asked
questions.
really good questions.
Bro, we asked a lot of good
I know.
questions.
I asked the best questions.
No, I love a good philosophical talk in business, but when it comes down to like how do you actually apply that, we got some good answers, but we're not going to give it away in the intro. Hey, this is the ROI podcast. We're the #1 business meets comedy podcast in the world.
You sure about that?
Oh, we're sure about that, and we're forward thinking, and we're giving entrepreneurial advice with real raw dog jokes and.
But raw dogging is all over the place now.
Oh yeah, man! I saw a guy.
I think you did that. You might have done that.
No, Raw Dog Channel on Sirius XM if you've ever rented a car and got bored with your own shit. This episode has a bunch of sponsors. You're just going to have to go in the description to get the links. Zupyak, Incogni, data removal, Flowdesk email marketing, Squarespace, website builder, CallRail, call tracking, LinkedIn Premium. All of those links have some kind of hookup to it, a percentage off, some money off there. And if you want to be our BFF, subscribe to the show. Give us a little 5-star review. You're listening in your ear holes right now. Just give us a little taste. Give us a little review.
Thanks, Alex.
And if you write one, and the gay frogs aren't coming to get you,
All you lizard people.
frogs are gay. What can I say? And then share the show.
That's how we get demonetized before the show starts.
If we ever got monetized in the first place, no, you could say gay frogs. That's fine.
Just
You can't
Alex
say-
Jones impressions is the problem.
Oh, you just can't say. You
just
have to
pick
say
up on that vibration.
Unalive yourself or something like that instead.
Right.
Of Cobain yourself.
Okay.
You guys know what I mean? You know what I mean.
I don't.
You guys. All right.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Let's get into it. Checkmate. Let's do it. Oh.
Good.
I'm
good.
So when we start off, we like to intro our guests on the ROI podcast by doing a little lightning round questions, and then you answer them honestly. We'll let you plug anything you want. Tell anybody about yourself, a little bio. Does that sound good?
Okay, and we'll see how it goes.
These are real quick questions. Don't need a long answer. Just want to kind of lightning round them. Like, is a hot dog a sandwich?
For the record,
Yeah.
I hate that one. Oh, it is.
Oh, that's why it's interesting.
Okay, but
You may disagree with
But
it.
he just said
I'd like to know.
original exact thing. Yeah.
All right, what do you got?
What?
It's got 2 slices of bread and eat in the middle.
Okay.
There you go.
What time do you wake up in the morning?
6 a.m.
Unstoppable force or immovable object?
Unstoppable force.
Have you ever seen a UFO or a ghost or anything of high strangeness that you can't explain?
Nothing like that.
No, nothing. Okay.
There are interesting pictures and interesting images that I find fascinating. I'm a photographer, so I like taking pictures of that stuff, but I've not anything that I couldn't explain.
Okay.
What's better, cake or pie?
I'm a pie guy.
Smart man. Smart man.
I can't see.
Grab-
What do you got?
You can't read,
Oh,
can you?
What's the hardest time you've ever laughed?
The hardest I've ever laughed, or the hardest time I've ever
The
laughed?
hardest you've ever. What happened that made you laugh the hardest?
Yeah, I don't know, but when I was a kid, there was always an objective to make the soda, the Coke, come out your nose or come out your friend's nose. And so I wouldn't tell you that that only happened once. It probably happened many times, and I don't recall exactly when it happened, but I recall the burning sensation that happens when carbonation comes out your nose.
I got my kids to do that the other day, but it was not soda, it was cocaine. And the last two questions we ask everybody who comes on the show: did you watch or listen to the ROI podcast before coming on as a guest?
I did not get a chance to do that.
That's okay. That's what most people say. And then, what advice would you give your 13-year-old self?
Oh my God.
Yeah, you thought these were all silly, huh?
Yeah, that's actually a complex question. But I love the question, right? Take what you know now. If you knew what you knew now then, what would you do differently, right?
Yeah, and it dovetails right into getting to know you. That's why we're doing it.
Yeah, so I probably would have said, be more of yourself for longer. There was a lot of, you're heading into high school at that time, and there's a lot of trepidation and am I going to fit in and how am I going to go? And the reality is, people are people and you're going to be just fine. And just don't be nervous about that and just be yourself.
Yeah. I mean, not too dissimilar from generally that's what a lot of people say. So you've earned yourself a plug out of Vancouver, Canada, not Washington, correct?
No, he said Washington.
Oh, he said
He not
Washington?
me attention. He wasn't paying attention.
I was trying to pull up the lightning round questions. I'm sorry. I heard Vancouver, and then I thought of Chinese people buying everything in Vancouver and Canada.
I'm surprised you knew there was a Vancouver, Washington.
I've been to Vancouver, Washington. I've done so many bad gigs around the country doing stand-up. I think I did one after a funeral where that was the whole crowd. It was at a bar.
Oh my God.
Yeah. There's a little airport, I believe, that can get you regionally around the area.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, so Vancouver's right across the river from Portland, and Portland is an international airport.
There we go. Yeah.
And there is a little, kind of prop job airport in Vancouver, but nothing that, unless you're a pilot and you like flying those little planes, you're going to go out of Portland.
You'll have to excuse Law. He loves talking about geography and where things are that he's been to. So, if you've been to Austin, Texas, don't bring it up.
I'll just do what everybody does now when they get really, really specific about something. I'm autistic now. That's
right.
very casual thing to say for some reason.
I'm on the spectrum.
John, you've earned yourself a plug. Tell us about you, your little kind of a brief bio, and then where people can find you, your call to action, if you will.
So brief bio, I spent 30 years in the multi-billion-dollar corporate space. That's what I went to out of college. And in 2010, I left that space because the company I was with moved to Dallas, and I entered the small business space, and I became a business coach. I invested in a franchise called Focal Point. I spent 7 years with them. Spent 3 years in the digital marketing space with Jeff Walker's Launch Club team. And now I'm with Sage Events, Live Event Accelerator program. And so at the end of the day, what I do is I work with small business owners to improve their performance. And I've shifted from one-on-one coaching, which I did for 10 years in Southern California, to one-to-many coaching with live virtual events. Live virtual events is a little bit like what we're doing, but I'm able to reach and teach to hundreds of people at a time. My next event is called Whole Life Leadership, and it's September 18th to the 20th. And the reason Whole Life Leadership is so important is because I, like many others, experienced trouble trying to manage my corporate life and my family life. And the last 10 years of my corporate life, I was on an airplane all the time. I was sleeping in different hotel rooms. And I really didn't recognize the impact on my family, my wife, until it was too late. It turned into a divorce. And so I just think that's a tragedy. I look back, and by the time I recognized it, there wasn't any saving it. So Whole Life Leadership is about how do I build my life and how do I have my business support my life? Because life isn't about business. Life is about life. And I want business to be a supporting vehicle to the life that we live. And one of the biggest component challenges in the business world is people. People are the most complex organisms on the planet. And you get the right people on your team, you get the right people in your business, and your business takes off. And if you don't get the right people, if you don't spend the amount of time, the energy, the planning to get the right people, it can do a lot worse than just stay static, it can decline because you're spending all your time trying to manage those people and get them to do what they're supposed to do and do it correctly. But when you learn how to attract, acquire, and retain A-level players, you're going to have a much stronger business. But to do that, you have to be an A-level leader, and that's what whole life leadership is all about. How do you become an A-level leader?
It's like it's like you've talked about this stuff before. Well, so, when we get coaches on here or just in real life, I get a little like, oh boy. But
Right.
you seem to have a different kind of, maybe not so much feeling as more analytical. It sounds like more math based. Is it fair to say because you're a chess master of some sort? Is that fair to say?
Well, yes and no.
I don't know
and I'll
what is
say
it
that-
called. I don't know the proper term. Chess.
Well, I was a competitive chess player, and they go to masters and grandmasters. I never got quite that good, but I did play competitive chess in high school. I won a couple of big tournaments in California and played in the U.S. Chess Championships in 1976 in Philadelphia. The thing about chess is that it's about organizing your resources and capturing the opponent's king. The goal is always the same, to capture the king. And you have the same set of resources. The more effectively you use those resources, the more likely it is that you're going to achieve your objective. Business is the same way, except the goal is always different, and the resources are always different. So you have money, and you have time, you have equipment, you have inventory, and you have people. Now, most of those are easy to measure and easy to manage until you get to the people component, which is it's the hardest one.
I'm glad you came back around to that because I want to know your approach on getting people. Like you talk about wanting to get the A-lister, what do you do to find the best people?
Wait, I got a chess question. What's your style, bro?
Okay.
Are we talking romantic? Are we talking what kind of style would you play?
I am an attacking style player.
Okay. All right. I had
I like
Unstoppable force, he already said.
right. He's offense, not defense. That's why I wanted to put that question in the lightning round. I wanted to see which side of that coin people want to go with.
See if he's going to flip-flop.
Well, and that
So
lends,
it's the sword and shield dilemma. Yeah.
lends itself to the unstoppable force answer that I gave you earlier. That's my style. How do I go forward as opposed to how do I stay defensive and block it out? So with people, the question, and I think that's a great question. So in business, when you're selling a product or a service, you'd go to great lengths to define your customer, the ideal customer profile. And you look at their age and their income and their size and what do they do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because you want to be able to send and put your messaging, your product messaging in front of that customer because they're most likely to buy it. Well, so business owners understand that and they're really good at that. But the reality is when you are looking for a new employee, you're not selling a product, you're selling a job opportunity. And when you're selling anything, the model still is the same. Who are you selling it to? So you have to have great detail on what are you looking for. And it's not just skills and experience, because attitude is more important than skills and experience. I can teach skills, I can teach experience. Attitude is much harder to shift and change. Character, those are ultimately what we're looking for first. And people that have the character to show up, be reliable, whatever the behaviors you need for that particular role, you want to go into great detail and realize also that the person you're looking for is not standing on a street corner looking for a job. They're working for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So they may not even be perusing the one ads or Indeed or whatever they're using to find a job. They might be perfectly happy, but if they knew about your opportunity, they might pay attention. So then the trick is, how do we get our message in front of them? Why should they come work for us? And so there's a lot more work in figuring out where they're hanging out than just putting in a job in the one ads or a job in the papers. And then when they come visit you, right? So now we're into a recruiting sales model. Like, how do I convince them? How do I persuade them that this job opportunity is better than the one that they were in? That this job opportunity has better opportunities, better growth, better chances for higher pay, et cetera, et cetera. How do I do that effectively? Which is a sales conversation. So we're using the same kind of conversations that we would in selling our product or service, but we're changing it because we're selling an opportunity, a job opportunity.
How many people hear that? And how many people hear that and go, you think people are objects, don't you? You think people are products? I think it's funny when you give a very eloquent answer, and I'm just thinking, how many people don't hear what you just said, kind of thing. But that might be projection on my part.
Yeah, a little bit.
But if you had some,
I'm curious. Do you use any tools, any specific kind of I don't know, infrastructure that you have, like testing of any kind, or anything that's like, that you can get some actual data on these people?
What's a cheat code for people listening, maybe to figure out their attitude and approach in a more quantitative way? If you have one, I'm guessing you might, but it's hard to judge character, because the person judging the character a lot of the time, they have a cognitive bias of some sort usually. So it's really hard to be objective when judging character and attitude and those kind of things. And some are conscious, some are subconscious, right? So how do you go about kind of filtering out what are the qualifiers, and how do you judge that with someone?
Yeah, so I think that's a two-part question. The first one is, what am I looking for? And, because different roles, different jobs require different behaviors, not just skill sets, but different behaviors. So a salesperson's skill set and salesperson's behaviors is different than an accounting person's behaviors, right? Accounting person, we need detail-oriented, we need reliability. Salesperson, we want the ability to go out, start conversations, the ability to develop relationships. So regardless, whatever that role is, we use behavioral assessments to reverse engineer what we're looking for in that particular role. So a lot of assessments are done for an individual. You'll answer these questions and it'll say, okay, this is who you are. And ideally it's enlightening. It's giving you some information that you didn't know before or you weren't aware of. But we can reverse engineer that. And we can say, okay, if this was the job and the job was answering these questions, what would the job say it needs for behaviors? Right. And so I get a different listing, I get a different report that says, okay, these types of behaviors will serve this job the best. So that goes into my job description. It goes into my requirements for who I'm looking for. And then the second part of your question is, when you interview them, how do you know that they actually have those things? And so what we're going to use is a bunch of open-ended questions where we ask for experiences that they've had that demonstrate those behaviors. Right. And you can tell when somebody's making something up. But if somebody says, okay, yeah, I've done that. I did that in this project. I had to do this. I had to do this. And you can tell that they've got it. And then you're going to ask them other questions to help you familiarize yourself with those responses. And ideally, you're not the only one that's asking questions, because your bias does ring true. And so we're going to want somebody else to answer questions as well. So you might have 1, 2, 3, 4 people, depending on the value of that role, right? So if this is a $15 an hour person, probably not that big a deal. But if this is a $100 an hour person, probably a big deal.
I remember I was, like you said, actively recruited, not waiting. They weren't waiting for someone to come in LinkedIn or Indeed or Monster.com, if that's still a thing. I don't know. But they actively recruited me and had, I think, 3 different visits. I did 8 different interviews or kind of side interviews. And I think the strategy with them was to have some of them ask the same questions to see if I answered them the same way, like verbatim, like a cop, like 2 detectives would do,
That's cool.
I mean, I think it's valid to see, because look, in marketing especially, there's so many bullshit artists. You want to make sure that, especially if they see it as an investment in human capital, for lack of a better term. I hate that kind of term, but it is what it is when you're looking at it that way on a P&L. It's like, they want to make sure that what you're saying is true and you're not just like making shit up on the spot, But I think I saw that more as validity, and it didn't bother me. It's just annoying to spend a long time there. Yeah. And
it's all about trust.
And they've probably been burned before. That's why they have that system.
I got to be honest with you. If you're in business, you've been burned before. Nobody goes through business without being unscathed. It doesn't work that way. I don't know anybody that hasn't made a bad hire. But understand that business grows at the speed of leadership, and leadership grows at the speed of trust. If you trust amongst your team, if you trust your leader, if you trust the company, if you trust the people you work with, you can do great things. But if there's any gap or chink in that armor, it's like, putting a stop button into the works. It doesn't work.
I don't know. Yeah, but I mean, I don't want to I don't want to belabor, just talking about hiring. I know you have a lot more to talk about with leadership.
Well, sure.
You know, what kind of leadership style are you kind of talking about? It seems very proactive. It seems very thoughtful. I don't know, servant leadership or any of that kind of aspects kind of in your methodology.
Well, I'm a huge fan of servant leadership because I think that's what builds trust. But I also think that it needs to be very strategic. I've worked with hundreds of different clients, and some of them have a little more strategic outlook than others. And some of them are, ready, aim, fire. And, that's going to get you results occasionally, but it's not going to get you the consistency that you're looking for. And in reality, consistency is what we're first looking for in our business. Consistency of customers, consistency of revenue, something that you can count on, as opposed to getting into that roller cycle, right? Where one day we got lucky and we got a bunch of clients, and then we go through a cycle of drought, and then we figure out how to fight another client. What we want is consistency, because when we have consistency, then we can do planning, then we can put stuff together that allows us to grow the business. But if we don't have consistency, how are you going to make any investments? How are you going to grow? How are you going to get there? So I would say strategic servant leadership is my style. And when we come to strategy, it's first clarity. What are you trying to get accomplished? Who are you trying to get it accomplished for? Clarity is king. When we talk about people, when we talk about goals, we talk about teamwork, and planning plays a role. Strategic planning, not just planning to do whatever, but strategic things that are actually going to accomplish our goals. And if you're a business owner, you have to know your financials. You have to know your numbers so you can make business decisions confidently.
Yeah, we were just talking about that the other day with our business dad.
Yeah. Shout out to Dean Akers, many time guest on the show. How does someone, they see a lot of inconsistency. How do you correct inconsistency in a business?
Process. So typically what happens, especially a small business owner, they don't have a process. They try this, and then they try that, and then they try this. If you have a process, steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever that happens to be, you can measure the results of that process. And if it's not giving you what you need, then you tweak it. It's the same concept with marketing. You make an adjustment. You tweak it until you start to get the results you want. And then you repeat that process again and again and again. And that becomes your consistency model.
What do you do to like solidify or codify these processes? Do you have a process for that?
Yeah, I do. It's called a process chart. And I learned it when I was in the technology development business. When you build an application for a computer, you have to have every single little step, every little thing. When you test it to make it work, you test every little thing that could possibly happen. Now, with a business process, it doesn't have to be as detailed, but it still needs to be detailed enough that you can repeat it and understand what's going to happen. And so there's a list that says, number 1, I got a lead. Number 2, I responded to the lead like this. Number 3, I followed up like this. Number 4, whatever that list is, right? That's it. Those are the steps. When you have those steps, I could go hire a customer service person and say, okay, this is how it works. That's the training tool. Right? But if I don't have those steps and I hire a customer service person and they just go wing it, they're not going to do it the same way every time. And they're not doing it the way I do it. And all of a sudden we have inconsistency.
And that aligns with like personal values for a purpose-driven brand. Is that kind of part of what you're teaching as well?
Absolutely. So from a leadership standpoint, the idea is you're going to create a vision statement. You say, this is what I'm trying to do. That's the clarity component, right? But in that vision statement, it has to reflect who you are, because if it doesn't reflect who you are, it's going to be very hard to do the things that are necessary to achieve that vision statement. So we start out with purpose, like what's the reason why you're in business in the first place? Then we go into values. What's your decision-making system? And we need to be able to share those values with the people that we hire so that they can follow our model. And we'll go into mission. This is what we do. And then we go into vision, which is this is where we're going.
Which is essentially a business plan outline, right? It's like the executive summary of sorts.
Yeah, it's the first 2 paragraphs.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just wanted to punch you.
Not everybody does one of those.
No,
Well, I recommend it.
That's what I did undergrad and grad school at Auburn University, War Eagle, and we're not a football school anymore. We're a basketball school. But the entrepreneurship program started my junior year when I was doing a major, and we had a teacher that was a consultant, a big time consultant, and just taught for fun. Actually, probably taught to get himself better being a larger consultant, like huge conglomerates and stuff. But
Credibility, authority.
he would literally come in for a minute and go, okay, you guys are going to write a business plan. He'd point to people, like groups of people in the class, and go, you're going to write one for this, you're going to write one. And so writing a business plan is so important. And I feel like it's fundamental to me. I try to do some kind of something like that once a year, maybe. Because yeah. An outline
for fun.
No, you should do it once a year.
Just put it in your desk and forget it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I just do it as an exercise. I don't write a whole business plan, like a lot of it's financials and research, more like the bullet points and executive summary, at least, to kind of think about, like, what am I doing? What do I need to do? My thing is inconsistency. That's why I was asking that question. How do you write it? And I knew, I kind of knew the answer would be process, but I needed to hear it, I think. And our last guest on the show said a similar thing. He found a niche and focused on process of that niche, sorry, you're about to say something.
Once a year is probably not enough because change happens too fast. The speed of change is accelerating. People have not changed in thousands of years, how we work and operate, but technology and everything else is changing like nobody's business. And so you might have a plan that says, this is what I want to achieve, right? But something happens out in the world that, takes it off course, and it happens very frequently. So you need a system that allows you to course correct. And typically you don't want to course correct once a year because how far offline are you going to be in a year, right? So you need to have a cadence that allows you to course correct on a more frequent basis. If you just do it once a year, it could be a big challenge.
Let's go back to work-life kind of balance that you touched on, and you had an experience with that as well, that I guess made you focus on it going forward. Is that fair to say? How do business owners, kind of entrepreneurs, kind of figure out that work-life balance? I'm going to guess it's consistency there.
I'm going to guess it's child labor. If you have children, you put them to work.
Well, you know what I was thinking about when he was saying consistency. I was thinking about the dads I kind of respect and admire. They're consistent for their kids, right? Inconsistency in a household really makes some stand-up comics that I'm friends with. It's one of those things where or no dad sometimes,
Yeah.
which is that, like, just being there is a different kind of inconsistency. And that they say kids, they actually want the discipline. They want the routine. They don't know it, but they want that. Is that fair analogy or?
Well, I think from a family standpoint, that's a true statement. The children are looking for guidance because they don't know. They know nothing. And you have to guide them to help them through that process. Yeah, your comment about work-life balance, I would tell you there is no balance because balance is like 50-50. Is that what we get? That never works in business. What you're looking for is harmony. Harmony so that all the parts and pieces of your life work like a symphony. They work together as opposed to opposing each other.
I like that. Well, so better. I love that.
Yeah.
Work-life harmony.
Way better. So harmony. So we look at all of the stakeholders. The stakeholders are all of the people that have an impact on that business or are impacted by that business, right? So your family is certainly a stakeholder, but you have customers, employees, service providers, stockholders, et cetera, et cetera. They're all stakeholders. And then we say, okay, so what do we need to do to create harmony with each one of these? And most of the time it's, hey, we need to tell these people what's going on, but we also need to understand what they need so that I can deliver that when it's necessary. In business, there's going to be mountains that you have to climb. It's just the way it is. But there has to be a valley on the other side. There has to be something on the other side. So if I tell you, hey, listen, I'm going to have to work some crazy hours for a couple of weeks so that we can launch this product, but afterwards we're going to be able to take a vacation. Now, there's not really a balance there, but you understand what's going on and you realize that there's something going on. And I'm paying attention to you as well. And you know that something is coming for you at a point in time coming forward. If I ignore you all along and I just don't show up and I don't come home until 1 o'clock in the morning because I'm working on my product, et cetera, that lasts for X period of time and you have no idea when it's going to end, then we don't have harmony.
I like that.
Yeah.
And then we got to end on a new question you wanted to add in here. You have to do this. It can't be in the lightning round. You have to do it.
Oh, yeah. Just if you had to fall in love with one of us, which one would it be?
Oh my God, that's hard to go for the...
You don't actually have to answer. We're just doing it for the reaction, and of course he makes me ask.
Just say that I love you.
Okay, fine.
That you're good. You're good.
I think he's winked at me though. So you can't say if you're just listening. That's fine.
It's a mirror reverse, so it's me, really, if you really think about it. But thanks for coming on. If people want to get to know you a little bit better, businesswhitt with WHITT.com, businesswhitt.com. That's your site, right? I'm doing this one correct.
That's my website.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
We gotta do the call to action because we forget these sometimes with our guests.
Mm-hmm.
And
we do.
Yeah, so on that website, you can contact me. You could sign up for a newsletter. There's a services page. There's all kinds of things. Just visit the site, check it out.
And I like the little favicon with the knight chess piece up there. I see details are important. Appreciate you coming on. Yeah, well, I love chess, man. I'm not great at it, but it is a good business kind of. To me, it's about thinking 3 steps ahead or 5. Like. If I do, it's if this, then that kind of scenario.
I think a lot of people could benefit from chess,
Yeah.
learning chess, or at least the ideas of it.
And I smoke my kids. They're 8 and 7, but I like to.
They're Asian though. They're Asian.
They are Asian,
Evens it
so
out.
they're half Korean. So they're in chess club, which is great, but I can't take it easy on them. So I have to, and then I have to flex when I win.
I'll tell you what, it won't be long before they're smoking you.
Oh, oh my God, they're already like.
I got a feeling they're already going easy on you. They're meeting and they're like, all right, just let him win. He doesn't have a lot, let him be good at this.
Yeah. And I'm still faster foot speed than both of them. They want to race me all the time. I go, your dad's got big thighs. He can handle it. All right, we will let you go. Thanks for coming on, buddy. And thanks for your time.
All right, thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.